Hello everyone and welcome to Frugal First, a channel that's dedicated to helping you build your finance. Hello Kevin.
Hello Alan. It's good to be back. Difficult getting you in here, with your schedule. Gosh, had to try and speak to Imani to try and get him to help me out with this thing. But you're here. But moving forward, I'm gonna have to think of ways and how I'm gonna do this, because your schedule is absolutely crazy. But you're here. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, I'm a busy man, and
we're all busy, Alan, but we make time.
Exactly, and that's why I'm here.
Okay.
Speaking of time, that's a nice watch.
The topic of the watch again. Yeah.
What brand is that? I'm just looking up. Is it Rolex?
We're not doing it. We're not doing this about watches, Alan.
But is it Rolex?
It's not. It
looks like a Rolex.
It's not a Rolex.
It looks very expensive.
It's not at all.
Would you say that watch is frugal?
I would say that watch's personal preference is, what's important to me, and it does its job in telling the time. I didn't look at, what brand. I just bought a watch. That was it.
You didn't look at the brand?
No, I did.
So you don't know what the brand is?
I think our audience are waiting for what's
okay.
Yeah,
that's fine. Yeah, let's go. So look, the first question, we've had a lot of engagements on recent episodes. People have been feeding back quite positively, which is good. Now, I'm guessing you've seen all of them. What feedback or reaction from the listeners have stood out to you the most?
I think the overwhelming support from not only you guys, not only close friends, and our name drop, Joshua, who's, he's an interesting character. I absolutely, love him to death. But with him, he's bantering me. He's like, Kelvin. And I'm like, yeah, Josh, I'm trying something different. Granty, all my close friends, Bart, Cal, Darren. I'm name dropping a lot of our friends on Twitter that we're usually bantering with. But it's been good in terms of people when I say, no, Kelvin, this is a good path. Financial literacy is not something that it's spoken openly. People sort of keep it indoors, they don't really talk about money or talk about ways that people can build wealth or, so it's been good feedback, and I've been really, really pleased. And it's motivating for me because it's given me a purpose, and it's telling me that I'm doing something right, and I'm going to obviously look to continue. Okay,
that's good. Yeah, absolutely. We had a caller recently thanking us for the credit card advice. What was the key habit that help them improve their credit score so quickly?
Oh yes, and that's one of the success stories. We'll call this individual Jane just for confidentiality reasons.
Is there any reason why?
Because we don't have consent to name drop that particular individual. They might not, but all the other lads they're all right. We don't, But
Simon didn't give you his consent. No?
That's something that me and Granny can discuss later on.
Has he given his consent?
we'll discuss that off the set. Okay. But Jane is someone that obviously Jane is a pseudonym, but she is a family friend, and for her journey and where she wants to get to. And what I liked about Jane was the fact that she felt really comfortable to disclose that, as I said, finance and money is a topic that, we're all working for money, we're all doing different things for money, but when it comes to helping one another or sort of discussing ways and how we can improve or do better, we don't sort of really discuss those things. So it was good for her to open up to me, and she said that her credit score wasn't the best. She'd been planning with her partner, that she's now married to. Congratulations, Jane. And that she wanted to improve her credit score. And I said, listen, this is what helped me. And I shared this on episode 2. Yeah, on episode 2. Where I said, the quickest way, easiest way for me, what I would do is get a credit card and use it for fuel or food shopping. And at the end of the month, I'd pay the full statement balance. That's what I did. And that really helped me. And she was like, really? And I said, yeah, but you have to be disciplined. And also you've got to make sure that you do your research. Don't take my word for gospel. Just go on Google, type in credit cards, whatever it is, or is this information right? That's what I always say to people. And she did. And when she called us and she said, after we launched, after we published our first video, she said, Kelvin, my credit score is in the 700s, since we spoke. And, she was chuffed. She was chuffed to bits. And that made me feel really, really good. And I'm pleased that she's doing well. And, her next steps in terms of what she wants to do and everything. And we're guiding and helping her. So that was a really, really good success story.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
Did you get paid for that?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
That's fine. Well, congratulations, Jane. And we're glad to have been able to help. This one's a bit of a personal question. This next one. People are, curious about your football journey.
Oh.
And your transition to what you do now. How did that experience shape the way you think about money? But also, what do you wish you had known about financial literacy earlier?
I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but I'm retired now. I know my Wikipedia says otherwise. I'll put that in there, Wikipedia and all that. But hey, you on Wikipedia, Alan? No? Okay. But no, I think with football, at the time, as a youngster, obviously going through the ranks of Reading, and then being exposed to all these. My time at Reading, we had Kevin Doyle, we had Stephen Hunt, we had Shane Long, we had James Harper, we had Ibrahima Sonko, we had all these top players. Leroy Lita, he's a good man. I mean, Leroy Lita, I've got a story with him. I'll share later in a different episode where he gave me. I'll never forget. He gave me one of his green Nike Mercurial boots, right? And I think at the under-18s at the time, I ended up scoring 15 goals in those boots. I'll never forget. He's a good guy. I really like Leroy Lita. But being in that sort of environment where you come in every day as a youngster, coming through the ranks at Reading, and you're exposed. These guys are coming in their Hummers. They're coming in at that time. They're coming in Range Rovers. They're coming in all these cars. And, they're coming in Louis Vuitton wash bags, and you want to be like them, So when you're sort of in that environment, your mindset is just buy, spend. So for me, financial literacy wasn't something that I was very clued up on when I was younger. So what I'd wished that I'd done differently, or my parents would have sort of instilled in me, was, and what I do to you guys, and what I say to Dennis, he's probably sick of me, the family, everybody's sick of me, with the amount of stuff I keep going on with all the Christmases, birthdays, you guys are getting books from me. But what I'd wish is that, I'd been well educated on money, or I'd been well educated on assets and liabilities and how to grow wealth and all these things. But I don't regret, that experience because it shaped me up, on who I am today. That experience, it's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, because obviously I didn't play to the level that I'd like to, but it was a great experience. I met a lot of great people, even in a non-league setup as well, but people that, I regard as brothers and mentors. But Mark Bartley, an absolutely great gentleman. I don't regret that, but I wished, looking back, that I've had that sort of education.
That education. Okay.
Yeah.
Did Mark Bartley give you permission to share his name?
Oh, Alan, leave the consent. Seriously.
Well, we just need to be on point.
Okay. Well, that's something we can clear that with Mark Bartley. We're going to have him on the show very soon, actually.
Yeah, but you said his name without permission.
We spoke.
But
he's a good friend.
Jane gets a pseudonym.
Okay.
Oh, I just saw a fan reached out. They said that the watch you're wearing is a tag, which is approximately £3,000. That's nice.
I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that. I don't.
Is that a tag?
I don't know, Alan. Honestly, I don't.
I mean, you can look at it right now and tell us.
I'm focused on the questions that you're asking, and that's the main purpose of today. It's not about the.
I'm just getting a lot of questions and requests.
You
about
probably are. We can cover that. I mean, this is something we can park that question, and then we can
I mean, you just need to just flit your wrist and you can see the.
I can, but I can't really.
You just did that, so was that?
I honestly I can't. I don't.
Okay. Well, so I mean, just obviously focusing on that question again, and it's look, you had a great career. Obviously, you didn't quite make it.
I wouldn't say great career. I had an experience. Football. I look back at my football career when I was playing. Check me out on Wikipedia. I'll put that in there. Are you on Wikipedia, Alan? Okay. So.
No, I'm not. I haven't got a tag either. So.
No, it's one of those where, do I wish I'd have played at a high level? There are players that I played with still playing at the top level, and are still doing very, very well.
Like who?
Can I name drop?
I mean, well, you're picking and choosing. So.
Well, we played. I mean, at Reading, who's still playing? We've got Jake Taylor, who's doing really, really well. Who else have we got that is still playing? I mean, when I played in the Netherlands, when Reading released me, and I went over to the Netherlands. And I joined FC Groningen. I was playing with Virgil van Dijk. You couldn't wait for that one, could you? Yeah.
I bet you couldn't.
It was just like yesterday that I had we called him Fairy, Big Virg. That he was just sitting next to me on the coach, and now his Liverpool captain probably. I think if he saw me, he'd be like, "Cal," yeah.
So he probably doesn't know you.
No, he does.
He knows you.
Yeah, of course he does.
Okay. We'll get this out to Virgil and see if he.
We'll try and get Virgil on the show. We've got Bakuna as well, he's a captain of Curaçao. He was at the time when I played at Groningen. He was there as well. Leandro Bakuna. He played Aston Villa, I think. He played Aston Villa. Good guy, really, really good guy. He's the captain. He's actually going to the World Cup. He's captaining Curaçao, so look out for him.
Okay.
Big shout out to Virgil and Leandro Bakuna. I've got other friends, Louis Pedro, Zinga. Who else? A lot of players in the Netherlands. I had a really, really good experience. Gillian Justiana, Sebastian Stachnik. Gillian Justiana, by the way, hold up. Gillian Justiana, by the way, is the Netherlands under-18s national team manager. So he's another good contact. Yeah, we speak quite a lot. So
are we done with the names?
Yeah, we're done with the names.
All right. I'm sure our fans will know all of these names. So,
yeah. Well, you asked. So there's still a lot that I can name drop.
Yeah, but nobody knows these players.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean, the question I was getting to is that obviously you've had an okay career, didn't quite make it, but that's life.
Yeah.
Right? And you are here with the tag, so you didn't do too bad. In the football world, like you said, we see a lot of people who amass quite a lot of money. And then towards the end or after football, they either just lose it or due to mismanagement, something happened where they're in some financial crisis. What's your advice to footballers, up and coming footballers that are under 21s, under 18s? They've got contracts, they're getting money coming in every week. They want to get a new cars, they want to get a new houses, they want to get new this. What would you advise them with everything you've been through? I
would advise them to start educating themselves on about money.
How did they? So what's the steps?
And so what helped me was obviously discovering that this is the path I wanted. I wanted to understand money. I mean, I'm working. We're all working. We're doing different things, and you want to understand different ways to how to grow your money, how to make your money work for you. So for me, one of the things that helped me was I just read all the financial literacy books. The Intelligent Investor, the J.L. Collins book, the Simple Path to Wealth, Morgan Housel's book, which is a famous one, The Psychology of Money. I'd advise them to start reading about financial literacy start reading about how to grow your money. Start reading about how to make your money work for you. That's what I'll do, because it's quite. I mean, you know what I did with Dennis when he first signed his scholarship at Reading, and I said to him, listen, it's non-negotiable. You know, you're going to send me this amount, because obviously he was under 18. You're going to send me this amount every month. Opened a junior stocks and shares junior ISA for him with Vanguard, and he was sending me the amount and I was investing it for him. When he turned 18, you know, then obviously as an adult, you now have to pass it over to him. And what I did during that period, and I said to him, I still get onto him today, because he knows how strict I am. And obviously with my experience, I'm not going to allow him to go through certain experiences. So for him, what I said to him is, listen, you need to read these books. You know, there are days where he would kick back, but I'll still sit him down. I'm like, listen, no, we're going through it. It's non-negotiable. And what I've been able to do, you know, in that 2-year period, when he was 16 up until 18, when we transferred his stocks and shares ISA from a junior to an adult, was I said to him, once he read all of it, and I also educated him about stock market investing, long-term stock market investing, you know, investing in index funds, ETFs. I educated him about the London Stock Exchange. I educated him about different countries' stock exchange. I educated him about, you know, the US in total, the FTSE Global All Cap. I educated him. I just kept drumming it in. He absolutely hated my guts, by the way. But now, you know, because he knows automatically, I don't need to even remind him that, Dennis, have you invested? You know, the first thing when he gets his scholarship money is, right, this is the amount that I need to allocate into my stocks and shares ISA. I need to buy shares into this fund. And now he's like, oh, care of my portfolio. And I'm like, yeah, you know, that's what you need to do. So my advice for young footballers will be to, you know, educate themselves on passive income, educate themselves on financial literacy, educate themselves on how to grow their money. That would be that's my key advice to them, because compounding works hell of a magic when you're young, you know, because you've got years, and from 18 onwards till about 40, if you're consistent and you invest, you buy shares, you know, in low cost index funds, over the years, by the time you're 40, you'd be looking at 7 figures, you know. So it's just for them to really, you know, read up all these great books on how to make their money work for them, how to, you know, invest in assets, understanding liabilities, and also living below their means, which is why we set this YouTube channel up, you know, Frugal First.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So again, going back on that, why do so many footballers struggle financially, do you think, when their careers end? I
think that's not to you know, bash footballers or anything like that. But I mean, when I was younger, my only mindset was making it. You know, you get so fixated on, you know, you have to eat right, you have to sleep at the right time, you have to make sure that, you know, you're prepared for games, training, you have to make sure that, you know, you're prepared for that. When I was young, I mean, I was a moaner. A lot of my academy friends at Reading, they'll probably looking at Kelv, you know, you are not. But I used to hate the gym, by the way. Now at 35, I absolutely love going to the gym.
You're 35?
Oh gosh, Alan, just stop it. But you know, gym sessions when I was younger, I used to hate gym sessions with Ed. If Ed is watching, you know, so I mean, it's so difficult for them to sort of try and do, because you're focused on, you know, right, I need to score this many goals. I need to, you know, make this move. Or I need to do this. I need to improve in this area. So I'm not going to sort of blame them too much, but what I would like to say, and we've seen it with, you know, Wes Brown, who I read filed for bankruptcy. We've seen what happened with Emmanuel Boe as well. You know, unless you play at a top level and you make millions and absolute millions, football is such a short window. And anything can happen. You know, my career was cut short with my knees and my metatarsals, that I couldn't really play to where I wanted to. So, you know, being financially literate and learning how to grow, learning, you know, how to make your money work for you, and learning to live below your means is something that I would, for footballers, I know, there's so many things that you've got going on when you're young, or even when you're in the zone, when you're in the first team or anything. You've got the fans, you've got your teammates, you've got the gaffer, it's so many. But in your spare time as well, try to understand what you're working so hard for. You're making a lot of money, right? What can I invest that money in for when I retire? So, what I would say is, although it's difficult, although it might be a little bit of a challenge, but footballers, let's just try and add that educational aspect to our game as well. Not just only in football, but in other ventures,
No, absolutely. But then I suppose the next question is that, in your experience being around footballers, what investing mistakes do you see footballers often making when they first start earning money? I'll give you an example. Some might say that, they might follow the new trend of Bitcoin. They might want to follow, remember those things that came about on social media?
NFTs. Oh God.
So what mistakes do you see them, investing mistakes, do you see footballers often making?
It all comes down to financial literacy. It all comes down to that. It all comes down to also for the fear of missing out, FOMO, where, something will be trending. What it stands for? Yeah, fear of missing out. Something will be trending and you'll see footballers or you see people jump on that next investment instrument without really having an understanding. This is why when you asked me about, am I investing in Bitcoin and or gold? And I said to you, I'm not well informed in that area. I'd like to, and I've got a book that, I'm going to be reading about Bitcoin to really understand. Don't get me wrong, I have got a couple, coins in Shiba because one of our friends mentioned it. For me to allocate a proportion or a huge amount into Bitcoin or any investment instrument, I'd like to understand it. And for footballers, all it takes is for someone to say, this is the next hot thing, because they've got a lot of money, they'll go, right, they'll put it in without reading. And we saw that with Bitcoin where, footballers lost hundreds and even millions in it because they didn't really understand it. So for me, my rule in my investing journey is I've got to understand what I'm investing in.
So is that the key then, kind of educating themselves? Education,
financial literacy, you've got to educate yourself. Even if someone comes to you and said, look, this thing, this is the next, you've got to also do your own research, which is why I always say, we're all for financial literacy. We're educating people on investments. We're educating people about different ways to grow their money, educating them about the stock market, educating them about all sorts of things. But also, just because we don't do it because we've said it, also do your own research and sort of make an informed decision that is this the right investment for me?
No, that's great. No, it's really good advice. And I'm sure any footballer watching, they can reach out to you
absolutely
and get that advice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Tat. And last question: if you could go back, and speak to your younger self at the start of your football career, what is the one money lesson you would share? Being very specific.
Gosh, that's a difficult one. One money lesson. I think if I could go back, as I mentioned earlier, if I could go back, I'll tell my younger self to find a way to read The Intelligent Investor, or find a way to educate yourself, or find a way to educate yourself about money. I remember when I was called up for Ghana under 17. Have you played in the World Cup, Alan? Yeah? No? Okay. No, I remember when I played for.
I don't have a tag.
Yeah. I remember when I represented Ghana at the youth level, and in my time, we had Ransford Osei, we had Sadiq Adams, great player. We had Daniel Parry as well, Ishmael Yate, Abeku Kwanzaa, all these guys. For the Ghanaian audience that are watching, they'll know this. And we played the World Cup. I think we came fourth. And in that World Cup, we had Bojan Krčić, we had Tony Kroos as well. It was a good experience in South Korea, that tournament. And I remember, all the bonuses that I got from that, tournament, from representing Ghana, I think in the African Cup, because we did an African Cup of Nations and then we qualified for the World Cup, and then we went over in South Korea and we played. And I remember every time, all the bonuses that I got, all the money that I got from that, I came back and I just gave it to my dad. And, I wish that, my dad would have been well informed about money, because at that age, when I was 16, had he invested that money at 35 now, Alan, you and I would not be sat here, mate. We'll be out. If we invested that in the S&P 500, for instance, or Bitcoin, if you want to go there, if we invested that, and you and I have had this conversation, because in today's, when you look back, the amount we've got, it was obviously a lot, because it was the African Cup, and then also the World Cup, the money we got from that. He started a business in Ghana, and we don't know what happened to that, but that's a different topic. When he comes back, he's in Ghana at the moment, but when he comes, we'll get him on our show and we'll ask him that question. But that's the type of love I have for the man. He's a great man. And I wish that, I'd been financially literate in that. Obviously, it's difficult as the 16-year-olds, but not to say that not many 16-year-olds are not financially literate, by the way, but I wish that I'd had an idea, so that when I came back and I gave my dad, my briefcase, it was just full of dollars. I wish he would have just, invested that and, thought about the future. But hey, we still love him. And, it got so good. We're clued up now. And the mission is, we're changing the narrative in terms of educating people and helping people build wealth in the long run.
That's fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. So do people still know how to get a hold of you on Instagram?
Yes, absolutely. If for those who do not know, and I'd also like to say, when we looked at the analytics, Alan, we had 83% of our audience engage with us, interacted on our platform, they watched the videos, and we'd like to encourage them to also subscribe and like.
Yeah.
That's obviously going to help us grow. That's going to help us find somebody else in case you're busy who can, do the questions. Absolutely. With your schedule. Yeah. But every little helps. So, those 83%, if you are watching, please do subscribe and share. Yeah. Because it's going to obviously help us grow and help us get the message out.
Absolutely. And they might get a free tag.
Yeah.
Kevin, thank you for your time.
Thank you as always, Alan. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.